Yeah, how are you?
Had a chance to process this and think about what kind of a season like this meant to you and these guys here?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's still pretty fresh. It's always tough to digest a loss like that a couple days after. It usually takes a couple weeks, but I mean, obviously you can be proud of the way that the guys, took a step this year, and obviously playoffs, round, almost getting to the conference finals. I think that was a big piece of this group and us coming together and kind of building that foundation and setting that bar. So that's one of the toughest things to do in an organization is switch the culture and turn it into a winning one. And obviously we're on the right track of doing that.
When you look at how the series went, I mean, you came one win away from the conference final. Is there anything, looking back on it now, where you think, hey, we could have done this a little bit differently, we'd be there, and stuff you can take forward?
I think, honestly, it's a little early to – I mean, there's plays that are going to haunt me the rest of the summer for sure. But, it's just playoffs is such a momentum thing where, you could look back and say if we did this or did this. But, I think it's still a little fresh for us to go through that. I think you can be proud of what we did, but at the same time understand that the luck, how hard it is to get to the playoffs, and then how hard it is to actually have success in the playoffs. So I would imagine guys will be chomping at the bit for camp next year.
Jordan, when you talk about the culture, I know you guys had not meetings but conversations going into this season. Are there messages or things you want the guys to take into the offseason to continue to build for next?
Yeah, I mean, I think we should have gained confidence that we can, obviously be a contender in this league. I think the biggest thing for me next year is that, obviously we're not going to surprise teams. I think, I would generally think that early on, with the way things went the year before, people probably took us a little bit lightly, and, we've established ourselves now. Things are going to get harder, but we should have gained some belief and some confidence in the way that we can play and the style that we play and the team that we have, that we can be competitive in this league. So, and then on top of that, I mean, for young guys who haven't been through it, we have a lot of them, the experience of, getting to the playoffs, how hard it is to win, and you take the Dallas team, for example. I mean, that team's been through a lot of heartache. They've lost in the finals. They've lost in Game 7s before as a group. This is really our first time around as this group. So for us to get that experience early is a huge thing for young guys, for me, for this organization. So, the biggest thing for me going into next year is that, we have to understand that it's not easy. It's not given to you. You can't take things lightly. But at the end of the day, we have a good team where we should have belief and confidence, and we should be able to just continue building of what we built already.
Jordan, what is it like for a pro athlete for 8 months? Your life is pretty regimented. Be here, here now, do this in 2 hours, and then all of a sudden, boom, free time.
I mean, the guys have different schedules. For me, obviously, I have kids, so that's my time. You know what? I think from the time I've honestly been 13, 14 years old, I've had a regimented schedule, and that's, throughout the season you have meetings at certain times. In the summer you have training at certain times. You're on the ice at certain times. That I've always heard guys who retire, that's their biggest thing, is that they don't really have that schedule anymore, and it's trying to get back to it. But for me, obviously, going into the summer, I think it's important to take time off and let your body heal. We put our significant others through a lot during the playoffs and being away, and with me, with 2 kids, it's hard on them to not be able to see me. And then when they do see me, a lot of times my mind's elsewhere, and it's in the game. So it's always good to have time off and spend time with them throughout the summer and rebuild that and then obviously get myself ready for next season.
Jordan, knowing that you guys won't surprise teams next year, where are a couple areas you feel like this team needs to improve on the ice?
Yeah. I think we've developed a way in a style and playing fast and playing aggressive that we've had success with. I think for me the biggest thing, and I go back to maybe Game 7, quickly, it's just, gaining confidence that we can do that in the toughest situations, which would be a Game 7, and have success. I felt like we were a bit sluggish and scared, and waiting for something maybe bad to happen rather than going at it. And I think those are situations where maybe veteran teams have been through it before. They've experienced that, and they're just like, we're going to go play and play aggressive. And whereas we haven't, gone through that. So if we can gain some belief that if we do that all the time, we can be confident and we can win hockey games. I think, I think our power play was just okay, and I think we need to find a way to be better, and especially in games like that where maybe you get a chance, you have to find a way to score. Obviously this is still pretty fresh, and I'm sure in the next couple of weeks I'll start to digest and break down areas that we can improve, but those are two that popped to my head.
Jordan, for veteran guys, I know there's often a dance you're watching what the front office is doing
Mm-hmm.
to complement what you guys are already doing on the ice. Obviously, pieces coming in the offseason, then you see players come up ready, like Ty Cartier.
Mm-hmm.
How pleased have you been with the signals you get from the front office?
Oh yeah, I mean from you go back to the trade deadline last year, and we traded I think 4 or 5, 6 guys. You weren't really sure what direction we were going, and I think with Ron, kind of addressing to especially some of the older guys that this isn't a rebuild. I want to add pieces and use these to be a good team right off the bat. And then you go out in the summer and they had Berkey, they had Bjorky, they had Schultze, they had Jonesy. I mean, a lot of good veteran players that I respect in this league. It kind of gives you some excitement. And then you see pieces like Matty, who was obviously taking a big step, and Ty, and adding pieces like Tolvey, who was a huge piece. You have a lot of faith in what they're doing and the way that they're building this team, and then obviously we make it to how far we did. So, I think they have done an exceptional job. I'm excited to be here. I think my wife and I, we love playing in Seattle. It's a great place to. I mean, you wake up, you see the mountains, the lakes, the organization, the buildings. I think it's just been first class for us. So, we're excited for the future here.
Jordan, you sit by Matty in this dressing room. What have you noticed as far as the steps that he's taken here in his first full season, and what does this next season mean to him as well?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing from Matty that I've seen, I mean, he's a young kid, and he just things roll off him. A lot of things, you see him in Game 7 carrying the puck through the neutral zone, the end of the third period, like that. You just don't see the confidence like that out of a young kid, and he has that. And maybe it's a naive confidence, but I think it's worked for him. So, he's a fun guy to be around. He's energetic. He's always got a smile on his face. It's good to have that young energy. So, with him, he's just going to get better. I think that's the crazy thing for me is you see a guy like that who's already been so productive at 20 years old, and as he gets older and starts to fill out a little more, he's just going to get better. So, he's obviously going to be a huge piece of this team. Thanks, guys.
Thanks,
Appreciate you.
Have a good summer,
Thank
man.
you. All your guys. Thank you.